Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bad Days, the podcast. My name is Rachel and I am your host, and I was not actually expecting to do an episode. I don't know, I'm pretty impulsive that way. I just kind of was in my car driving, listening to podcasts and thinking, oh my god, I need to get back into it because it's been a long time. And the reason it's been a long time is because I just needed a break. I have so much going on all the time. I had uni, I had this business, I had this podcast, I was applying into jobs because I was graduating soon, and it all just became a bit much and I needed a break, and that's fair. It's not like I have millions of listeners anyway, so I don't think it's a big deal, but thank you for those who do listen. I think I got about 300 downloads last year, which is something that I wasn't expecting at all, so thank you so much. Basically, today I just want to catch up and talk about owning a small business with literally zero money at all. Just starting a business with no money, because it is possible. It's not even really, like, you have to have some funds, but it's not really about money. It's about motivation and skill and just actually starting something and then watching it grow, because that's essentially what I did. I actually want to just start with a story. So last weekend I went to one of my friends slash co-workers slash neighbor's house for a Christmas party, and we got out some tarot cards because she's really into that stuff. I like that stuff. And I asked her about my career, and she basically was shuffling the cards, and the exact amount that she needed for the reading that she was going to do popped out onto the floor. So she aligned them all, and it was so accurate, and it was actually insane. So basically it started with her saying that I started this business kind of in a negative way. And that's true. If you saw my episode in episode 3 about how I started a small business, it was pretty much because a guy dumped me and I was being a bit petty and just needed to artistically let my anger out. So completely fair, completely true. She was basically saying with the tarot cards that she was saying with the tarot cards that I just need to connect with people, and there's people there that are going to help me on my career journey, and that I need to just let them do that and let them help me, and basically take any opportunity for getting better. And I totally agree with that, and I think that is so true, because I sometimes kind of hold my small business as my baby, and I don't want anyone to touch it, and I love collaborating and I love reaching out to people, but sometimes, I don't know, I get a bit stressed about it if something's not absolutely perfect. I don't want to disappoint people, and so I like to keep the business just for me. And so, I don't know, it got me thinking a lot, and I felt like I just needed to reach out and do something more with my company. And so the other day I applied for fashion college, and I got accepted, and I may or may not be doing a advanced diploma in fashion design, just so that I can, better my craft and actually do something, I don't know, just be able to feel more confident in what I'm doing, because I started this business practically from the ground up. I didn't know how to crochet 9 months ago, and now my entire business is crochet handbags. And so hopefully through that, I will be able to gain the confidence to reach out to people and do more collaborations and, I don't know, just be more proud of the work that I am doing in my small business. It also said in the tarot reading that I was, I don't know, I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty certain it said something about, feeling a bit defeated or because of the rejecting opportunities. I don't know, I haven't really been able to progress. And that definitely has come with all the stuff that's been happening with me for the past couple of weeks. I've been applying to jobs because I am graduating soon, and they're all been digital and social media related, and I've been getting rejected from a lot of them. I applied to a job at Vogue as a TikTok creator, and I got rejected. It was a bit sad, and I was a bit defeated by that. And it was completely fair. The person that got it is an amazing influencer, and bless her, she's doing great. But I felt so defeated after it, and I could not do anything at all. So that was super disappointing, and it kind of put everything on a hold. It put this podcast on a hold, to put my craft on a hold. It made me feel like I wasn't good enough because I don't have that kind of following to be able to do the things that I want to do. And so I don't know, I just felt so disappointed by it. but I feel better now. This week has been really, really good. Obviously, I'm in a good mood. I'm doing another podcast episode. I got a couple of sales on my bag, so I've been creating those. I've been testing out some new techniques with a knitting machine I got for my birthday and a manual loom that I'm testing out. And I'm just trying lots of new things and I'm super excited. Oh, and I also got a new job at a sustainable fashion company. So everything is looking up. And even though this business did start on kind of a negative, I wouldn't want to say negative vibe because I don't think that's true. It was more just like artistic, creative expression through low-key pettiness. I don't know. But because it started on something that I was really upset about and it turned into this, I'm really excited to see where this is going to go. And I feel like I'm in a very good mood at the moment. So I don't know. I'm just really excited, testing out new things, trying new jobs, getting new experiences, and honestly, I don't regret starting from the beginning with nothing. Because I did start with nothing. I had some money because I was living at home at the time, but even then, it was more just like testing out the craft. So yeah, back to the basis of this episode. Can you start a small business on no money? And I think absolutely you can. I don't think that you have an excuse if you have no money, especially if you're trying to be a more sustainable small business. For example, I was on TikTok the other day and I saw this small business and she spent the last couple of months collecting these pillowcases, like vintage pillowcases, over a span of a couple of months, and she made bags out of them and is now selling them. And that's a total amazing sustainable way to reuse past things, to reuse past garments or homewares or anything and turning them into something more. And I thought that was amazing. It was super inspiring. She could have done that on literally $20 and started a business and made a profit from it. So there's absolutely no excuse. I think the only excuse would be time. But even then, I did start a small business, working, studying, trying to socialize. I did start the business kind of during the pandemic though. So I definitely had more time than I would have if the pandemic never happened. So that I totally understand. But I do think that time is much more valuable and much more of a necessity than money is when starting a small business. I do think that thrifting and repurposing garments and creating new things is such a really good opportunity to start a small business. You know, repurposing anything to create something new. As long as you have that idea, maybe some basic knowledge of garment creation and the skill, and to make it a good quality piece, that's all you need if you wanted to start a clothing business. This is just speaking about fashion. I obviously don't know much about any other business, but even then with homewares, you can go to the thrift store and buy something and repurpose it and turn it into something new that is something that has been done many times before. And it's honestly just about actually having the motivation to do the thing that you want to do, because I know that you have those ideas in your head about all the things you want to do. I know I had all those ideas in my head and I just did it. I knew that I wasn't going to, when I started my business and I was, buying wholesale t-shirts, I knew that that wasn't going to be forever. I knew later down in the track when I maybe started studying fashion design, or even if I didn't and I just learned it on my own, over time, I knew that that was the direction that I wanted to take. But I just started with what I knew, and I knew wholesaling. I knew that I wanted to learn to use an embroidery machine, so that was the thing that I invested in. That was probably my biggest investment, was buying an embroidery machine. So yeah, that was the investment that I made in order to start my business. But I also didn't have to do that. I could have gone to Spotlight, bought some thread, start hand embroidering if I wanted to do a cheaper option. But because I was able to access that money at the time, that is what helped me start my business. So money definitely does help, but I don't think that it is the reason that you should not start a small business. Not at all. Even when it comes to building your own website, you don't have to start with Shopify or Wix or anything like that straight away and buy the premium versions. You can just start on Etsy, which is free. Big Cartel is free. Anything like that to get you started. You could even use Depop. So many small businesses utilize Depop to start. And that's great. And it's so easy to set up, it's so easy to use, it's easy to promote. So I definitely also think that that is not an excuse. So what I want you to do is think about the idea that you want in your head. Think about the end. So think about the thing that you want to do that maybe is super unattainable at the moment, something that you really can't reach, but that is your end goal. Think about that. And then think about how you can start in the present, just right now. So get a piece of paper, write down all your dreams, or your goals, or your ambitions, even if they're super insane. So for example, you want to create couture, you want to create high fashion, you want to be part of the big luxury houses, you want to be on Vogue, you want to travel the world, all those things, write it down, and then look at what you have right now. Do you have access to a thrift store? Do you have access to even just purchasing new fabric? Do you have access to a sewing machine? Do you have access to, like, what do you have access to that is currently close by and easy to obtain? And then just start making something. It's literally all it is. You don't have to start promoting it yet. I didn't promote my business for 2 whole months, maybe even less. I was a bit excited, but I would recommend even at least 3 months of just creating the things you want to make, practicing, honing your craft, just doing all of those things. And don't tell anybody. Just don't do it. If you're too afraid, if you think you're going to fail, don't tell anyone. Don't tell a single soul. You don't have to set up a social media page yet. You don't have to set up a website. Just create the things that you want to create until you're proud enough to share it with the world. Or even not share it with the world. Just show one person and see what they think. So, for example, you want to make a dress. You want to start selling dresses. Make that dress. Make it into the perfect thing that you want. Don't rush it, because no one knows about it. So it doesn't matter. If no one knows about it, it won't matter. So do that. Show your best friend. If they like it, if they have an opinion on it, take that into consideration and switch it up. Or if you're proud of it already, what can you do to make it so professional that there is absolutely zero mistakes? And then once you get confident enough to share it with a bigger audience, then slowly start up a page. You don't even have to follow yourself. Just slowly start up a page where you start posting the things that you want. See what your audience or your niche thinks about your products, because you really don't have to sell anything until you absolutely want to. The best thing about owning a small business is that it's completely up to you. You might not even want to sell it, you just want to present it. I know a girl who posts her collections, but I can't buy them. She just posts them on a website. She has a whole photo shoot, she gets makeup and hair done, she finds a place to take the photos, she gets models. She just creates these lines and then doesn't sell them. And that's totally cool. It's like a work of art, and I totally appreciate that. And I just think you need to just start. And then once you start, you just keep getting better. It's like you've started from the bottom, and then you can't get any worse. You can only get better. So you just really need to start, honestly. So with me, for example, after a while, after I was embroidering tees, obviously I got a bit bored with it. I knew that it wasn't the end. That wasn't my goal. I knew that I would still utilize my embroidery machine, so I don't regret buying it at all, and I would definitely be using it for future garments. But I wanted to try something else. What other medium can I learn? What other fabrics or materials or whatever? What can I use that is different and is more in my range or my niche or my personality? And that was crochet. And so I spent a couple of months just learning how to make hats and, learning from YouTube tutorials and just kind of buying the cheap versions of the things that I wanted to use. And then I created them. And once I was able to make the things that I wanted to make, which were the handbags, then how can I make this more sustainable? How can I make this more for my audience and my niche? Like, what will they like? What makes me happy? What, materials can I use that I am very proud of? Can I make my own fabric? Can I, just all those little things that matter that will make you happy, because this is your business. You're not making it for anyone else but yourself and the audience that you're trying to reach. But also in saying this, you might think that this is the dumbest idea that you've ever heard. Why would you start a small business with no money? It's completely up to you. You could spend the next 6 months completely saving up and save up thousands of dollars for a professional website, for all the packaging that you're going to use, for all the marketing, for all the fabrics, the textiles, the instruments, I don't know, anything that you're using. And you can spend the next 6 months and just prepare, because that's probably the smartest thing that you need to do. But I'm not trying to give you the smartest idea. I'm just showing you what I did and what's working for me. And I like starting from nowhere. I like kind of showing my progression, I guess. So if you scroll down to the beginning of my Instagram page, you would probably see absolute trash, to be honest. And it just gets better. And I like showing that and sharing that kind of progression of my business. And you might not agree, and that's totally okay. And then I would recommend saving up for 6 months and, creating your skills, building your craft, finding everything that you need to prepare. And that is such a smart idea that I do recommend. It's just not what I did. It honestly just depends on what you think that you're capable of, or how much, I guess, drive you have for it, how much patience you have, because patience is definitely a thing that I do not personally have at all. That's why I start things straight away. It's probably why I started everything that I did. When I talked about fashion college just before, it took me a day to realize that I should do that. Like, it's been in the back of my head since I was 10 years old, but that's why I did a Bachelor of Communications. It's because I didn't think that I was actually going to do that. But then I had a talk with my granddad. I had the tarot reading, the drunk tarot reading, I might add. I spoke with my granddad, and he was basically saying that he's so cute. He was asking me if I could share my drawings with people in the fashion industry, and what kind of jobs I could get if I shared my little drawings. And I was just like, I don't know. I don't think I can do that. I don't think that's a job. But then it got me thinking about, wait, I actually do want to be in the fashion industry. I do want to make clothes or even style people, just anything in that area. And so that afternoon I drove home, I applied. 2 days later I got in. So I don't know. Everything that I've done is built on impulse. I don't know if that's something that you're into, but that's what works for me, and that's how I've created my, I guess, success so far. So it's honestly up to you to start your small business journey. But as someone who started basically on nothing, it is possible, and I don't think that money is an excuse. I think that time definitely can be an excuse, but even then, if you wanted to start a small business, you need to make time. You need to sacrifice some things. You might need to sacrifice your social life. You might need to sacrifice a day of work if it's possible, if you're able to. You might need to sacrifice a little bit of cash, but even then, it's honestly just about putting in the effort. It's not easy at all. It's just having that drive and that motivation. And I once had a girl message me, and she basically asked, oh, how did you start your small business? I'm looking to start one. I wanted to start one for my boyfriend because we want to make t-shirts, and I basically sent an entire list of things that you need to do in order to set it up. And she obviously sounded very overwhelmed. She didn't really know how to respond, and I totally get that. I did kind of throw everything on her and say, you needed this, and this, and then you need to do this, and I don't know, I think she got a bit overwhelmed and never ended up starting the business. And I kind of regret giving it to her that way, but it's true. There's so many little steps that you have to take and things that you need to consider. It's just about putting in that time and that effort. And some of that stuff doesn't even cost money. It's just about setting things up and getting things ready. And yeah, that's basically it. Now, if we were actually going to talk about money, I would definitely just take into consideration budgeting. Budgeting is so important. Even when you're starting with little money, or if you're starting with a lot of money, budgeting is the most important thing that you need to do. And there were a lot of mistakes that I made. Just going into the store and just buying something spontaneously and being like, oh, that's okay, I'll just add it to the list. those things do add up, and you just need to really take that kind of stuff slow. So, for example, researching materials for packaging, especially if you're trying to be a sustainable business, where can I find maybe cardboard boxes, water activated tape, what else? Stickers and business cards and things that are able to be recycled over plastic. Finding those things are quite expensive, and you do have to do a lot of research in order to find the correct things. And I don't even think that I personally have succeeded in that yet. I do have compostable bags, but I might not have business cards that are able to be recycled because of the ink. So I do still have a lot of things that I need to get through, but I also cannot throw those things out that I've already purchased, because that just creates more waste. So in the future, I know what to do next when I run out of those business cards, for example. An influencer, Tara Chandra, recently just inspired me to actually start budgeting on Excel spreadsheets. So I've been just using a Word document, and I write down absolutely every single thing that I purchase in relation to my small business. But the way that she created it is perfect. I actually saved her Excel spreadsheet because I thought it was so important to use. And you need to write down every single expense that you made in your small business, how much it was, what date it was, just so that when the financial year rolls around, you're prepared and you can see how much of a profit or how much of a loss you have made. Even if you're just starting on $5, for example. But even with no money, I just feel like in this day and age, it's all about exposure. It's all about just getting your ideas and your things out there, with the risk of it maybe being stolen by fast fashion, unfortunately. But you just need to get your stuff out there. You just need to, even if it's a private account that you don't follow, you pretend it's not you, just post every single thing that you're doing in order to gain the following that you need in order to be a successful company, because marketing now is basically all social media, and it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, and it's a stressful thing as well. So for example, even though I have a business, I don't have the followers that will be able to back up my success. And that's such a disappointing thing, because I do consider my business to be, in my personal opinion, a successful one, because I get the sales that I want, and I have such a nice following, and I have so many small businesses and creators who support me and message me, and I have a close friend's Instagram story where I just talk about my small business, and I follow small businesses and they follow me, and it's so nice. But because I don't have the followers to back me up, it's hard to show that level of success. And that is something that really upset me when I applied for Vogue. And there is no hate to this influencer at all that did get the job. Absolutely none. She actually does a really amazing job. She definitely deserves it. She studies fashion business, so it makes so much sense. And there is no hate to it. But it really got me thinking about my followers and how much that is important in this day and age when I'm applying for jobs. And it's so upsetting, because I have a business, I have a podcast, I post things, I get things out there, but because I don't have the followers to back me up, sometimes it doesn't look like it's enough in this day and age. And it's so, so, so disappointing, but it's just something that we're going to have to deal with in social media and social media marketing for your own business. It's something that you need to strive for in order to, I guess, have the sales that you need and all that kind of stuff. And this does not speak for all businesses. For example, for a brow business, maybe word of mouth works better and advertising in a physical space. But for a small e-commerce business like mine, it's kind of important to utilize social media marketing. And I'm kind of glad I have a bachelor degree in it, but I also half the time don't know what I'm doing. So I honestly think it's just about creating the content, posting online, and it's almost just as important as the creation of your work itself and the things that you make for your small business. I think social media marketing is way too important to miss. So just keep posting, keep, reaching for that goal of having the followers that you want and the audience that you want and the people that will actually buy the things that you create. Anyway, I hope that whole thing made sense, because it was a bit of a rant, but I don't know. I think I needed to get some things out there, and I'm kind of glad I did. Basically, if you want to start a small business, you just need to do it. Just start now. That's all I can say. You need to start building your portfolio, having that kind of personal physical experience in order to get better. And then once you have the money or the experience, it only goes up from here because you will only get better. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. Bad Days, the podcast, I feel like it's going to be more half sustainable, half small business chats. And I like the direction that is heading. So if you like it, don't forget to follow me on TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, and Instagram at Bad Days a Label for any updates and further information. Obviously, if you would like to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, that would be amazing and I would really appreciate that. Don't forget to touch the notification button for any updates and when I post. And thank you so much, and hopefully I will be back to a regularly scheduled content as of now. Thank you so much, guys. See you later.